Hello, 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 and welcome to episode 2 of the Deadball Specialists. Two fellas who have dead opinions about ball. My name is Ahmed, and joining me today is my friend and co-host, Kunal. How you doing, mate?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Fantastic. Because of our result today, but obviously we will get into that. Did not see
Good.
that coming,
Did you
but
not? Okay.
oh my God, I thought we were going to get pumped. But we really pulled it out of the bag. But I don't know. I should have had more faith because we tend to do quite well against Leicester. But we'll come on to that.
Yeah. So what are we looking at this week, mate?
So we're looking at the weekend's fixtures. We're going to go over those and see how it tallied up against our predictions last week. And also we're going to look at the second half of the episode. We're going to look at Pep's City, hence the title of this episode, Pep in the City. So we're going to look at Pep Guardiola, his City team, and why I think he's a super fraud.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to dive into that because I do definitely have a different opinion to the fact that he's a fraud. But it'll be interesting to get in that this week. Let's crack on with the first game. The big one this weekend was Chelsea United. Unfortunately, a boring 0-0 this week. I will say this, starting off at the game, I think Chelsea started off really strong. The first 10 minutes were quite exciting. I thought they're just going to kick on a gear from there. But it just kind of fizzled out. So that 10 minutes went quite quiet after a while. It then just evened up throughout the first half. And the last 10 minutes, I thought Man United then kicked on a gear and started to find a bit of form. Second half was just a non-event for me completely. I felt with the talent on show, I'd won a couple of goals from that game, really, but it was just so quiet. And I think what Chelsea did well in that game, actually, is that they found out that if you keep Fernandes quiet, then Man United are quiet. And I think it was clear to see because they were stopping the supply line to Fernandes. As soon as that happened, Man United didn't really have an outball and they went quite quiet. So I don't know, how did you see it?
Yeah, the same, mate. I agree with you. I mean, this is not the first time that we've seen sort of a Chelsea United game kind of fizzle out into nothing. I feel like this fixture with with the kind of prestige and the background that it has, you would think it'd be a really good game, but more often than not, they tend to be kind of really dour, drab encounters. So, I mean, I wasn't too surprised about the 0-0. I thought it would be a draw. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you on the Fernandes point. It seems like everything goes through him. He's so focal to their attack. So if you kind of nullify him, you're always within a shout. Another super fraud started for Chelsea up front, Olivier Giroud. I saw that he was hooked, so I'm not surprised. He flatters the busy. He is. I don't want to go off on a tangent here, but he's like, how are we going to explain, right, to kids in 20 years' time, right? So they'll look up Giroud on YouTube, right, and they'll see the scorpion kick, and they'll see the fact that he's a World Cup winner, right,
Yeah.
and they'll see that he's won the UEFA Cup, multiple FA Cup winner, and like, okay, you see all that, and you're thinking, wow, this guy must be great, but
He
in
is.
all actuality, no, he's dog shit. Let's be
No, you say that because you're an ex-Arsenal fan. He is a goal scorer. He's a goal scorer.
goal
He's
scorer.
effective. I think what we showed there, it's an interesting you raise that point because I think we've seen that since he's been out of the squad and Lampard wasn't really starting him, Chelsea's results were very hit and miss. He's been playing pretty much every week under Tuchel, and now he seems to be finding form. Chelsea winning games again, and they look solid. He's a good outlet and he's a good hold-up guy. I think I rate him over Tammy Abraham. I think he's better than him.
Absolutely.
And I think he gives Chelsea something different. I think is this opinion coming from somewhere that is
No. So this is the okay. So
opinion?
no. So firstly, I would much rather have Tammy Abraham. I think he's quicker. I think he's more of a goal threat. I think he gives you more. Giroud does have a lot of good qualities. He's great in the air. He holds the ball up. Big, strong man. I really do like that about him. But the fact is, this man will let you down every single time. So you remember, and the reason my opinion on this goes back to when sort of remember that three-way fight for the title, like Leicester, Arsenal, Spurs, and then obviously Leicester won, right? So we finished second that season. Okay.
Yeah.
This guy, right? So a team going for a title, okay. This guy didn't score a single goal from like mid-January until like late April, right? During the crunch, right? When you need your striker to step up, and bang goals. This guy
Yeah,
did
you
nothing. I
do.
think he went like 13 games without a goal.
Yeah, I think
Um,
it was a long time. Yeah.
yeah, it's right. And there have been many times when he's kind of let us down. And I've always said Arsenal aren't going to really win any major honours with Giroud up front. And I don't. And Chelsea aren't going to win any major honours too with
But
Giroud up front. So
he also did score a lot of important goals, so you can't take away from that.
yes, he did. He did.
He did,
But
yeah.
what? But then what? Okay, so that's like a double-edged sword. What ends up happening is that he was shit for ages. And he'll score a
Mm.
couple of important goals, which means he stays in the team, and we don't buy a better striker. That's basically what happened. So yeah,
Okay.
I don't rate this guy at all. He's not good.
I think we'll have to agree to disagree on that point because I think there's something about him. I think also why he's been at Chelsea. Hazard looked so good in the last few years when he was playing alongside him. Now I know Hazard's been dogged with a lot of injuries since he's gone to Madrid, but he doesn't look anywhere near as efficient without someone like Giroud to just have that connection with that mindset, that 1-2 in and out. And Giroud gives you that. I don't think there's that many players that give you that as much as you require right now, especially with Chelsea. They don't need their goals to come from him. They have people like Mason Mount. You've got your Hakim Ziyech. You've got your Timo Werner, your Kai Havertz. You've got players that can give you goals in those out wide positions. He can be your focal point. So I think for their style of football, he does more good than harm.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, I would say like I don't want this to turn into like an Olivier Giroud podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like yeah. I mean, if you set up a team to play to his strengths, obviously he will do well. But for me, he's not an elite striker.
Okay.
Not an elite striker at all.
Let's move on to the Arsenal game because I think that, like I said, the Chelsea Man United game was 0-0 and there's not really much you
Yeah.
can say about it because it was kind of
Mm,
the second half was boring. I didn't really enjoy it that much. The
mm,
Leicester Arsenal game, though, that was a very, very interesting game for me. Very, very interesting. So I think just a second. I think as soon as Leicester scored, they sat back. It was a really, really interesting approach from them. They didn't go for the jugular, which they often do. They just it felt like because they got the first goal so early, they just thought we'll sit back and counter Arsenal. But you did really, really well in stopping that counter attack coming at you over and over again. I think you had a lot of pressure from the off. Even when they scored, it was still all Arsenal really, and I think that pressure eventually told. Um, you were a much better team in the first half. The fraudster in that squad, Willian, who in my eyes has been absolutely
don't get me
terrible.
started on this guy.
And I will say this about him. So he doesn't really look bothered since he's been at your club. He looks like a man that's very much doesn't want to be there. He still wants to be. I know he said recently, I think only a few weeks ago, that I didn't want to leave Chelsea, and I think that shows when he's on the pitch for Arsenal. But he did set up a goal. His crosses were good all game. His corners were okay, but he did get a couple of assists. He was a threat there throughout. But interestingly enough, most of the time it doesn't look like he can love to be there. Emil Smith-Rowe getting injured was a massive thing for you. I think losing him is going to be a big out. But first time I've seen Odegaard look like a good player. I think he showed some really, really quick feet.
Yeah, I mean, I think we spoke about it last week. I had zero confidence coming into this game. Obviously, Leicester are riding high. They were they were on the march. I think they were like second or third at the time. And then I saw their midweek result. Like we had both like opposing results. So obviously we went through in the Europa, and they surprisingly got dumped out by Slavia Prague. So I was not expecting that at all. Okay, that's quite strange. I mean, what mood are they going to be in? And then when Tielemans scored so early on, I thought like it just kind of for me just confirmed. Okay, we're in big trouble now. I did not foresee that outcome at all. I think that going ahead 2-1 at halftime was huge for us.
Yep.
I think if we'd gone in level or losing, maybe it would have been a different story. But I think going in at 2-1 was very, very important for us. Leicester just surprised me. I think we've spoken about this like off camera. Like Leicester are one of the few teams that can beat. So Leicester could beat City, right?
Mm-hmm.
Next week, let's say they're playing. Leicester could beat City, but they could also lose to Sheffield United.
You did make that point actually.
Yeah, they're just so unpredictable. You don't know what Leicester side you're going to get. They can beat the best, but also lose to the worst. So
But
yeah,
like you said, they beat us 3-1. So you think into the Europa League game, they should have been brimming with confidence.
Mm.
And I think, like you say, that them losing that game had a big impact on the game versus you guys, clearly, because they didn't look like themselves in that game, I don't think.
No, they really didn't. They just, yeah, they were really, there was something off about them. And it's kind of strange as well. Like for us, I thought we'd be in big trouble because I think we just got back from Greece, like just like a what, 4 or 5 hour flight. I think we got back yesterday or the day before, whatever. So, you're thinking tired legs, long flight, how are they going to fare? But they were really, really impressive. Really, really impressed with them. But coming on to Willian, I think I'm going to go on record and say he's the worst signing I've ever seen. Yes, because if you look at what he was supposed to be, I mean, I never wanted him, by the way. So
yeah,
I've got a policy of like, go on.
No, I was just going to say, Arsenal do have a habit of buying second-rate players from other clubs for no reason.
Why?
From Chelsea.
Like we've turned into like a Chelsea retirement home. Like,
yeah.
Name me one signing from Chelsea that's ever worked out for us. Not a single one. Not a single one. Like I'm going back to sort of William Gallas, right? Remember that sock deal that we had for Ashley Cole, right?
He was okay, Gallas.
He wasn't. He was dog shit. If he was a proper skipper, we would have probably won something that year, but we didn't, right? So, and I still remember his tantrum in the centre circle. Cool. After that, who did we get? Lasana Diarra. He was there for like 6 months. Dipped. After that, who did we get? Petr Cech.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a finished Petr Cech, by the way. And now we've got this Willian guy who is just the worst. He offers nothing, and the fact that General Arteta still starts him or brings him on instead of Gabby Martinelli is, yeah. I mean, my views on Arteta already, so it just kind of compounds it.
Well, it's interesting you say that because he did make wholesale changes because of the trip to Greece. Like you said, you got back late, and he did change a lot of players. Lacazette started, Pepe started, Willian started, Emil Smith Rowe was on the bench, Saka was on the bench, Aubameyang was on the bench. So he did try and take that into account with the trip to Greece, and that I think probably played a big reason to why Willian started today. But like you say, should he be that guy? Should he not be still the third or fourth, fifth choice player to come on? Like you should be starting other players first. Like why is he become the immediate second choice first starter? We'll just jump onto Willian.
It's like he started him for way longer than he should have. Then he realised how like basically starting him was playing with 10 men, so he dropped him to the bench. But now he's itching. He can't wait to bring him on at the slightest opportunity ahead of better players. So I don't get it.
Okay. Should we jump onto the game that's still currently going on right now, which is the Liverpool-Sheffield United game? So it's currently 1-0 Liverpool. Curtis Jones.
Oh, okay.
63rd minute. Yeah, so we 48th minute rather. So we have scored now.
Okay.
I think in the first half that I did watch just before we jumped on to recording the podcast, Firmino had a great chance. Through one-on-one, keeper's going to ground. He's got a whole goal tray in that pick spot and shoots straight at Scott Ramsdale. Now, we need a striker. It's a big thing. I love Bobby Firmino. And from day one, I have sung this guy's praises. I will not hear a bad word said about him. I think he's so pivotal. But I will say this year, and perhaps towards the back end of last year, he's falling off a cliff. Like the assists aren't really coming, that he's not as fluid on the ball as he used to be, doesn't really score any goals at all anymore. And I think I brought this up in the last podcast. I think one of the front three need to be sold to refresh that team. I don't think you get much money for Firmino, so he's not the first choice guy to be able to sell, because you wouldn't get that much from Bobby. You'd probably get 25, 30 now. He's a 30-year-old striker, doesn't score loads of goals. He's not going to sell you. He's not going to be worth £100 million.
So hold on. So like we've kind of discussed this before. So you're telling me you'd rather get rid of Mane or Salah?
It's not. I would rather. It's more a case of I think that's the thing that needs to be done to revitalise the squad. Yeah, because I think Jota's in that team now. I think if one of those two go and you bought someone really, really good, like someone like, for example, and I don't think anyone's got money to buy players like this right now, but someone like a Sancho or a Haaland or a Mbappe, that's the level. That's the one of the three you really need to buy to replace one of those guys. Because then if you, for example, you sold Salah, and you've got Haaland. You play Haaland up front. You have Jota one wing, Mane the other wing, and then Firmino can go on one of the wings when we're injured or shorter players. And Firmino can become the second. He can be the first guy on the bench to come on. I don't think he can be relied on to start anymore because we need a goal outlet, and if he's not providing us any goals, how can he justify placing that starting lineup now?
No, I agree with you, and I've said to you for ages that, you know, I know Firmino has like a lot of qualities, and he brings you know, a lot to kind of your build-up play. Yeah. He's like a much better Giroud, right? But the problem is he just isn't. His goal contributions aren't that good, and you can't be taking up a space in the front three if you're not kind of contributing goals and assists. You know, like, I mean, that is your job. So yeah. So for me, I would rather get rid of Firmino and kind of see if you can get like an upgrade on him, rather than get rid of or sell Salah or Mane.
But Firmino gives you no income, right? He's not going to be sold for much money. And I don't think any club has a lot of money right now to spend £100 million on a big player, especially Liverpool.
Yeah. Exactly. But then maybe you could do like a Thiago situation, you know, pick someone up on a world-class player, pick them up on a free or something like that, you know. So that's always an option. Personally speaking, I wouldn't get rid of either Mane or Salah. Yeah,
I mean, I think that's an idealistic word. I think we need to refresh that squad personally. But we'll see. Obviously, that game's still going on, so there's not too much we can say about it. But I'm glad we're winning, and it's a must-win game for Liverpool as well.
Oh, huge! Absolutely must. Should we? If you guys don't pick up 3 points, I'd be very worried.
Well, I told you already. I don't think the top four is a thing for us this year. I think we won't get that. I think we just need to call the season a day and refresh it. But I think right now, get Cal back out of the squad, get him back in the training ground, just play youths, play the two youngsters in centre backs, and just get on with it. Because I don't think Kabak is fast enough to adapt. He already scored 9 goals. Luckily, it was called off tonight. It was ruled out tonight, but I don't trust him in the slightest.
Okay.
And he had no clean sheets for the Schalke team he played in all year. Not a single clean sheet.
But have you seen that Schalke team?
I have, but you'd want at least one clean sheet.
Bad. They are awful. They are not good.
They are bad.
I mean, maybe because they've got Kolasinac and Mustafi in their back line. So, yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Right, the Spurs-Burnley game. 4-0 Spurs. Gareth Bale hitting a bit of form today.
I'm very surprised.
Yeah, I'll let you start on that. How did you find the game?
I was going to say, like, I think Maria must have told Bale that, you know, Burnley at home is a golf course. So have at it. You know, probably explains why he played so well, mate. Man thought he was playing an 18-round game of golf. But yeah, no, it's he looked very good. I think Spurs looked very good. They needed that. They have been off the boil for a while now. No real form, and obviously, you know, 4-0 at home is always a great result. I'm worried about Burnley though. I think we've got them. I think we've got them next weekend. We've got them away, so hopefully we can capitalise on that. But Burnley, look, I'd be very worried if I was a Burnley fan.
Burnley, you're worried because you think they're going to get relegated?
I don't think they'll get relegated. I still think they have enough to stay up.
I think,
like I said, you know, they've got this kind of, you know, with their Brexit football, you know, 4-4-2 throwback, Sean Dyche. I think they have enough to stay up. I don't think they'll go down, but it's just very worrying the way they're kind of giving up easy goals, which they never used to.
Well, this is the thing. I think we touched upon this last week about 2 strikers being out, having a massive impact on the way they play football going forward, to at least try and get some goals. I think Burnley looked off the pace, and you know Burnley's game plan of keep it really, really tight for the first half. Don't concede a goal, keep yourself in the game, and then you can try and nick a couple or do whatever. I think Spurs scored so early on. As soon as they scored, Burnley would look like, oh, our game plan's been ruined now. We don't know what to do. Let's just panic a little bit and not do anything properly. And they just left so much space for Spurs to counter in, like Son, Kane, and Bale did have a field day. And even when Moore come on, he had a field day. I think Burnley have no strikers, plus the fact they conceded early just allowed for a massive collapse. The shame it didn't happen when they played us. When everyone plays us, they seem to turn into world beaters. But it seems like when teams like Spurs come to Burnley, get an early goal and they capitulate. It's very unlike Burnley that. And I was shocked. I was shocked too, to be fair. I didn't think it'd be a 4-0 result. I thought 2-1 at best, maybe a draw there. Bale, do you think he's going to stick good until the end of the year, or do you think it's just a minor, got one game where he's had a good game?
Yeah, I think that's more it. Oh yeah, 100%. I think he really has lost something, and obviously we know how good he is. At one point he was a world beater. I still remember the 2014 Champions League final, and him and Di Maria absolutely dragged their team back into, and obviously 2018 Champions League final against your boys.
That bicycle kick.
Oh my God, insane. I mean, he was kind of on the way out then, and he still came up with that, which is astonishing. But yeah, I think this is temporary. I just think he's gone.
Do you think this is just a combination of all the injuries that have got to him? Why do you think he's gone this way?
Yes.
Still what, 30, right? About 30.
Yeah, I mean, kind of, yes. I mean, obviously he has suffered a lot of injuries, but I think it's a motivation thing. I just don't think he's motivated like that. I just don't think he cares. I mean, I think I read somewhere he's on like, what is he on, like $500,000 a week or something like that?
Something like that,
Some insane wages. Like, I'm sorry, I don't care who you are. If you're getting that kind of money, the motivation to do anything goes down the toilet, really. I mean, unless you're kind of really single-minded and you're one of those kind of those people that have that kind of elite mentality where it doesn't matter and you just keep going. I don't think he's one of those people. So yeah, I think he's past his best.
Okay. Palace Fulham. I mean, 0-0. The less said about the game, the better. Fulham were on top most of it. It's not the worst result, but I think Fulham needed to win today to at least have a better chance of staying in the league. I think they're probably down now. But I don't know. Did you watch any of the game?
I saw bits of it. I agree with you. I think for Fulham, they missed a huge opportunity. They obviously, I think we spoke about this earlier. It's like they're before today's games, they were, I think, 3 points behind Newcastle, the better goal difference. So they could have really dragged Newcastle into it, really dragged them into it. And especially since, obviously, we'll probably come into it, like Newcastle dropped points as well. That was a huge opportunity for them, and they didn't take it. But yeah, I didn't really see much of the game. I just saw bits of it.
Yeah, it wasn't. I don't think you missed much, to be fair. I mean, okay, cool. That's a perfect segue into the Newcastle Wolves game, which was 1-1. Really, I think that's not a bad result for Newcastle. I know it's not the greatest, but against a good Wolves side, it's a 1-1 draw.
But then I think I thought Wolves were there for the taking today. And obviously Wolves haven't travelled well recently. They've been, pretty poor away from the Molineux this season. So I really did think they were there for the taking. I think Newcastle should have really pushed. I think when they got that 1-0, they should have really gone for it and got a second or maybe even a third. They were there for the taking. In the end, it's probably a fair result. I just think it's a big opportunity miss for Newcastle.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Almor, and I think I mentioned this to you before, like off camera, that I really, really like his kid. I think he's technically very, very talented. He had a great chance in the first half, which he didn't finish. And I think that's where Almiron falls down. Is the potential's there, technicality's there, doesn't get enough goals, doesn't get enough assists. And it's a shame for a player of that quality. And I think he's a bit of a shining light in Newcastle. I think a lot of stuff goes through him. And I know you obviously love Saint-Maximin, and I think he's amazing. Fan. But I think Almiron helps him a lot because he is that guy that can be a focus a little bit and then allows Saint-Maximin a bit more space to go ahead and do what he does, which is blistering, countering pace and just frightening defenders. He's so direct. And I think sometimes he doesn't know what he's doing. That's what makes it exciting at times too.
Yeah, exactly.
He reminds me of Balassi when...
Yeah, exactly. It's like, how are you supposed to defend against that when the guy himself doesn't know what he's doing? You're like, well, what the hell? I know where you're coming from on that.
Yeah, so you're probably right. Wolves were there for the taking. I think Newcastle did actually play quite well in that game. But at least it wasn't 3 points lost and it was a point gain for Newcastle. I think right now they'll probably have a few games. The games against people like West Brom, Brighton, they're the ones that they need to come away with points, I think. They're the big ones. We can move on to that game, actually, the West Brom Brighton one. 1-0 West Brom, 2 missed penalties for Brighton. I enjoyed the cheeky free kick. I was very, very disappointed that was disallowed. That was where like football was like, just you said you blew the whistle, you let him have it. Then you blew the whistle and said you can't have it.
Bro,
there's no logic in that. Yeah.
This ref, he's a war criminal. Okay.
Yeah.
How can he blow the whistle, right? So Lewis Dunk said to him, "Can I take it quickly?" Ref goes, "Yes." Ref blows the whistle. Just before the ball crosses the line, he blows his whistle again. Yeah. Nobody knows why. VAR then gives the goal.
Yeah.
But then they wipe it out because they said that one of the Brighton players was offside because he was in the eye line of the West Brom keeper. So it's offside. Have you ever seen a more incompetent display? I am sick to death of these referees. I've really, really had enough. Like, how incompetent! Like, if you were that bad, right, in your day-to-day job, okay, you wouldn't last a week. You last a week. No, they'd get rid of you. They would get rid of you. I don't care what job you're in. You could be, you could be a CEO, or you could be working in prep, or anywhere in between. If you were that bad at your job in the same way that these referees are, you'd be gone within a week. Absolutely gone. They're at the paint.
It's interesting you say that, and you're discussing the poor refereeing. I mean, even in the Man United Chelsea game, that handball from Hudson-Odoi in the first half, the referee essentially to Harry Maguire, I heard feedback that he said essentially, well, if I gave a penalty, then all hell would have broken loose. I don't know what to do because I don't know what the right call was. They're along those lines. So you're telling your player openly, I don't really know what the right decision is, so I'm just not going to give anything. Now, what is that? What is that?
What the hell? I don't remember. I didn't see that.
That's from today's game. It was just something I was reading after. When you released.
Okay. Cool.
The players talking about it, and I think Luke Shaw kind of mentioned something in his press conference that the ref said to Harry Maguire, "They don't really know what the right decision is, so I'm not going to give anything." Now it was a handball in my eyes. Like his hand was there, it hit him and come up. He was trying to claim that was a handball against Man United there, but it hit his hand first. Then 3 Chelsea players were surrounding the referee shouting stuff while he's watching the VAR screen. Again, should be banned. None of them should be allowed to near him when he's making that decision. That, again, is criminal. But the standard of refereeing has been terrible for a while. Like, long live the days of Pierluigi Collina, where it was a stern, strong ref. Yeah, bring that guy back.
Yeah, just like decent. Like, I mean, do you know what's funny, right? Do you know how many times, like, Wenger obviously has, over the years, kind of called these people out, right? And basically said, what did he call? I think he called, was it Mike Dean? He basically said to Mike Dean after a game, he said, "You're not honest to your federation." And I was like, "Thank you." I think he called him, and I quote, "a fucking disgrace." And he ended up getting a ban for it. And I'm like, "Thank you for saying that," because that's what we're all thinking. So, yeah. No, these guys have been shit for a long time. You know, they're basically a cartel. They're a mafia. You can't say anything against them. Like, you have no recourse. You can't. There's no challenging them.
No, and some referees make that like a real point. It's like, I'm the star of the show here. I'm the referee of the game, and it's like, it's not about you. People are not paying 50 quid a ticket to come and watch you make the decisions.
Thank you. No one has ever dressed up in a referee's uniform.
Yeah. Exactly.
And if you have done that in your life, then I think the police need to have a look at your hard drive. But that's a story for another
time. All right, so the Leeds Villa game. 1-0 Villa. Rafinha.
Excellent.
Gonna get a big move, I say. End of the year? Do we agree with this?
I think maybe in a couple of years. I think Leeds will hang on to him.
You think?
Yeah, because obviously I think the situation right now, I think you touched on it earlier, like not a lot of clubs have a lot of money at the moment, so I don't think he'll get a move next year, but I think maybe in a couple of years' time he'll definitely get a big move.
He's a great player, yeah, he's got a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
I think he will get stolen this summer. I think maybe, like you said, maybe a few years, but I think this year will be a good one for him. Also, kind of Leeds pushed throughout. They didn't really have any clear chances, but they were a threat throughout, as Leeds are. I think actually Villa did well to hold on to 1-0 result. That's a really, really good result for them against a good lead side.
Great result, yeah. I mean, I think we spoke about this last time. I mean, personally speaking, I was expecting more goals.
Yeah.
So I was a bit surprised to see the 1-0. I thought Leeds would have a lot more going forward. I read somewhere as well that Leeds didn't even have a shot on target in the second half, which is very surprising. Great result for Villa. Villa's away form has been fantastic this year. Like they're really setting a standard. But yeah, two good teams. I mean, I just wanted to see more of Leeds. Leeds is a style, kamikaze style football. It's just so good to watch. It really is. It's proper. It is. It's like kamikaze. So I was hoping to see more of that. Like watching Leeds, like it's like a basketball game. It's like back and forth, back and forth. So I didn't really see much of that, so I'm a little bit disappointed. But yeah, great result for Villa.
They remind me of Liverpool of old. When Liverpool used to win like 5-4 or 4-0.
Oh God, yeah.
This used to be every game as well.
Under Julian, right?
No, that was under Brendan Rodgers a lot of the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. You guys used to blitz teams. I mean, yeah.
First 15, 20 minutes, we battle teams, yeah. And then for the next hour, it'd be like panic stations to see if we could score four goals.
Because what happened is it happened to us. Like you would blitz the team for 15 minutes, hopefully get a couple of goals, and then hoping the opposition don't realize you can't defend.
Basically.
Yeah, please don't attack us. Hoping hoping the other team are so shell shocked. They're like, what the hell happened? They're just like in a daze for the rest of the game. They're like, hold on, this guy can't defend it. Yeah, so it's Brendan Rodgers all over me.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So the last game, which will probably lead us quite nicely into Pep and the City, is the City West Ham game. So 2-1 City. West Ham were great in that game, by the way. It was far from a dominant City win. It was West Ham were in the game throughout, I thought. I think the Hammers really, really, really good team. Just beat by a superior team on the day. And what I think has been amazing is that this is Pep's worst ever start to a season. You know that? When he started, this is his worst ever start to a season.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
They started really badly, didn't they, if you think about it?
Yeah, you're right, actually. Yeah.
And now they're 13 points clear. And I think that says everything about them. And the thing for me, we'll just kind of talk about Pep and his City straight away, because I think the City team is unreal right now. 20 wins on the bounce. 20 wins on the bounce. That is no small achievement. It's a really, really big thing. And also, City squad depth is unrivaled. I think they have 2 11s in there. No other than Chelsea potentially. Outside of Chelsea, there's no one else that has 2 starting 11s like City. And I just think that's what's helped him so much in the league, is the fact that he has such a deep squad, and he's not changing players like Bernardo Silva for people like Divock Origi. He's changing people like Bernardo Silva, people like Mahrez and Sterling and Foden. It's just a different quality of players.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I'll come on to that in a second, but I just wanted to say that I think West Ham deserved a point. They were fantastic. They were really, really good. They can count themselves unlucky. I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen, someone kind of really hold out and go toe to toe with this City team. I think you just mentioned it, like 20 wins on the row, 13 points clear. I mean, we played them last time. We like last weekend, we couldn't get near them. And yeah, when West Ham were fantastic, I really think they definitely deserve the point. Ruben Dias, once again, I mean, he not only is he great at the back, he's scoring goals now. Like, this team are unstoppable for me. They're too good for this league. But I think what they're going to be judged on is the Champions League. So we'll see.
Okay, well, it's interesting you say that. They're still doing well. I think they won, what did they win, 2-0, 3-0 against Murray going back?
Yeah, I think it was 2-0, yeah.
2-0, and that was away from home.
Yeah.
So it's already a good start. So I think that they're already through to the next round in that competition as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I think their only real rivals in that competition this year are Bayern Munich.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, Real don't look at themselves. Barca don't look great. Yeah, so I think I mean, maybe PSG if they get their act together.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, no, I think. I mean, if City don't win it this year, I mean, when are they going to win it? So yeah,
Well, let's talk about this Frodiola mindset that he's got, because you're
Fraudiola.
adamant that this guy's a fraud, but realistically,
Yes.
I think his trophy cabinet is humongous. His one trophy ever has been, yes, he's not been fantastic in the Champions League in the last year, and he's not got past the quarters. He's got knocked out for Bayern and Man City, and you demand more for that. I agree with that point wholeheartedly. But if you take away from that, what else does he have to do? He wins 2 or 3 trophies most years in the league, in his country that he's in, always the cup and the league generally. I know he spent a lot of money, but if you've got the money to build a squad, you still have to put that squad together. You still got to buy the right type of players to come into the team and gel with the team, and also make them play better together. It's not just a case of buying superstars and hoping they all work. He's not done that. He's brought players that people didn't know who Ruben Diaz was. People were not really interested in signing people like Zinchenko or Laporte. They weren't.
Okay, so for every, I'll come on to that. For every Ruben Diaz, there is a Mangala. Okay, for every Kevin De Bruyne, there is a Negredo. Okay, for every
Negredo did all right for a while.
Not for me. He's just a Spanish Giroud for me. Not good. So like he's made a lot of poor signings. Okay, and I'll tell you why I think it's a fraud. This man inherited Frank Rijkaard's Barcelona team, which was they played some of the best football I've ever seen. They were fantastic, right? He obviously inherited that squad, and he basically was there to, he basically had Messi on God mode, right? Do you remember? I think it was like 2012. Do you remember Messi when he went through that? I think he scored like 100 goals throughout that calendar year. He was just on God mode. Nobody could touch him. He was fantastic. Cool. So he did that, right? I think he won the Champions League once with that Barca side. And I think he won the league most
he won
years.
he won the Champions League twice at Barca, didn't he?
Oh, he did. Sorry. Yeah, you're right. Was it 2009?
Yeah, and
2009, and then 2011. Yeah. So okay, cool. So he won it twice. So fair enough. I mean, that's a decent return. But
and also that Barca team. So just to interject there is that Barca team was not winning as consistently as he made them win. The talent was there, but also Rafa Benitez picked up a Liverpool team that was doing really, really well from Gerard Houllier. He made them win the Champions League. That was Houlier's team that won the Champions League, but Benitez took him to that final edge, and Pep has done that too. You can't discredit, even though it was a good team that he walked into. I think you can't undertake or undervalue his contributions to make them consistently win and really, really look good at the same time.
I think another manager would have taken them on a further to like a higher plane for me. That's my feeling on his Barcelona days. He left Barcelona. He went to Bayern Munich, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is a league where I think the last time somebody won the league over there was Dortmund. What year was that? 2011? Okay, cool. So nobody apart from Bayern has won the league, the Bundesliga, in like 10 years, right?
Leipzig have pushed it, haven't they, recently?
They pushed it, yeah. So you get, but then coming on to Bayern, what Bayern end up doing, they cannibalize that shit. So what they do is like any kind of team in the Bundesliga has even a half decent player, they'll buy them, even if they don't mind playing them. So they bought Podolski, right? They bought Lucio. They buy Zé Roberto. They buy Lewandowski. They buy Götze. They buy Goretzka. They buy Neuer. What that is half decent in that league, buy them like, yep, thank you. So what they end up doing, they end up strengthening themselves and then weakening their opponent. This is why nobody can touch them. Coming on to that Bayern team when Pep went, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that Jupp Heynckes team of 20?
Well, they just won the treble when he walked in. They just won the treble.
Okay, cool. And do you remember how good that team was?
Yeah.
I don't think we realised how good that team was under Jupp Heynckes. They were fantastic, honestly. Probably one of the best club sides I've ever seen. And yeah, he won the Bundesliga, so what? But what did he do in the Champions League? Nothing.
I
think he got knocked out of quarters, semis one time. Unacceptable. That is just shocking. And then he leaves there, comes to City. My man has spent, I think, was it 300 million on fullbacks alone? Yeah. On fullbacks alone, bro. that is, come on. Like, if you, I have to look at the level of investment. If you spend that much money, right, you
Yeah.
have to return something. You
He has returned.
City,
This is my point. He returned something, just not in the Champions League, but he was returned.
but even in the
Uh,
Premier League, Chelsea
still
have won
won
the
one.
league while he's been there. Liverpool have won the league while he's been there. Like, he should
Has
have
he not won it?
dominated.
What? He's won it 3 in 5 times.
But he should have won it more. He should have won it
Well,
more.
it's very hard to say that because I think this is not England's not a league like Germany, where in that only
Yeah,
one team ever win it. There are multiple teams that win it in this country.
yeah.
So to outright just say, well, he should just demand it because he spent money, it doesn't. Can't say that
I
because
still think.
Chelsea has spent a lot of money and they don't win it every year.
I mean, Chelsea is a whole other story. Maybe if they had a steady manager for any length of time, then they maybe, they could be where City are right now. I just think that I just think that he's as a manager, he's made some really poor decisions, some poor signings, and I think a lot of his so-called success has been kind of handed to him. I mean, I'll say something. Do you know what Fulham are right now?
Yeah.
Do you reckon that if Guardiola got parachuted into Fulham at the beginning of the season, they would be any higher? They would be rock bottom right now.
But perhaps, but the other side of that conversation is that he has implemented his style of football in every single country he's got, and there's not many managers that can leave that kind of an imprint. Look at Mourinho; he's been to so many countries, he's been manager at so many clubs, and he poisons them. He wins stuff in 2 years, then he poisons them in the third year, and he gets out of there. He does not leave his footballing imprint on any of these teams.
Yeah.
But Pep Guardiola has successfully done that in all the teams he's gone to. Is that not a mark of a good manager? Someone that can show you, well, this is how I want to play football.
It's the mark of a good coach.
Yeah.
I'm not doubting his abilities as a coach. I think he's a good coach. And he does have like a style of play. But then I was watching it today. I'm like, do you watch like a Man City game and think to yourself, wow, this is gorgeous. This is amazing. This is wonderful. Not for me.
I do.
Not for
I
me.
do. There
I
are
see it. It's functional. It's functional, and it's possession, and it's just, I don't see it, and I'm not getting off like the edge of my seat thinking, wow, like this is fantastic. I'm not seeing that in this City side. I saw it at Barcelona. I saw it at Bayern. Glimpses for City, but I don't know. They're like a machine for me. They're just very, very functional. Good, amazing, but functional.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. And you talk about them being functional and just an okay team, but I don't think there's any better team than a Pep team at breaking down a low block of a defensive unit. And right now, if you look at all the teams that play against City with a low block, City creatively can break past these teams. Liverpool can't do that. Man United can't do that. Chelsea can't do that. I don't see any teams but Pep teams that are so well equipped to deal with a low block.
Yeah, exactly. And it's because the players he has in and around that sort of low block. You have people like Gundogan and De Bruyne and Ivan Needle kind of threading and thread passes and stuff like that. So they you'd be pretty silly to kind of implement a low block at City. I think you just have to kind of go at them with everything. I think Leicester did that earlier in the season, did they not?
Yeah.
And they won. So yeah, for me, they're a good team, a fantastic team, the best team in the league. I just feel that they should be doing more.
But this is my point: is that you're not the only person who has said to me on a few occasions, "This man's a fraud. He's a fraud, fraudiola." It's not an uncommon phrase, not an uncommon thing for people to think. But I just find it quite an unusual idea because he has won stuff everywhere he's been. He has implemented the style of football. He can win. He does win games. He wins leagues. He wins trophies. So what else do you have to do to prove yourself? Just win the Champions League? That's not a realistic. I
think for him to prove himself, I think he should go to like a work in progress club, right? So maybe I don't know. Maybe that's his next adventure. So a club that maybe needs something, it's like a squad rebuild. Maybe a club that is quite big but isn't doing too well at the moment. I'm not advocating for him to join Arsenal. I mean, not even he could help us, I think. But I just think that he should challenge himself, and I don't think he's challenging himself.
Okay, well, again, let me ask you this. Is that, again, not a bit of an unrealistic mindset? Because there's no manager in the world, that top manager, that once they become a top manager and get the big jobs, says, I want to go look for a challenge now. There's no manager in the world that does that.
Mourinho did that at Inter.
Okay,
Look
so
look at the Inter team that Mourinho walked into,
okay,
and
so
look at that team when he left.
yes, okay, yeah, he turned that team around. But Mourinho is the one guy that's done it at one club. But after that, he went back to Chelsea, Madrid. He just went to the top echelons of stuff. Pep's only done that. Klopp has had an upward trajectory. Ancelotti, I know he's gone in waves, but for a while he was on an upward
Ancelotti's doing that as well.
And Ancelotti, yeah. There's not many managers that do that are elite managers. Like Ancelotti is no longer a successful winner of things. He hasn't been for a few years. So if he was still winning the league every year, he would not take an Everton job.
It's a good point. I mean, but he could have said no. You know, a manager of his caliber probably had other offers on the table, but he saw Everton as a project and he went for it.
That's true. Okay, well, I mean, that's an interesting dive into the Pep City. I think for me personally, clearly we're at different ends of this argument. I think your opinion's dead. That he is a fraud.
We are the Deadball Specialists.
We are. So week 2, there's another dead opinion. Ahmed, you already think that Pep Guardiola's a fraud, which is not.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah. So, before we sign off, let's have a look at the weekend's games coming up. The first one, actually, it's not even weekend, it's really week and weekend. It's a full week of football this week. The first game, Monday, Everton-Southampton. Everton are at home in that game. Obviously, probably still bouncing off the Liverpool result.
Yeah.
Southampton are a good side, but they've been up and down in form. I'd like to think Southampton win that. Well, I'd rather Southampton win that. But I think I can see it. I think I can see a 2-1 Everton win.
I'm going to go Everton win. I'm going to say 3-0 Everton. Obviously, Everton are going to be on a high. I think Southampton are really sliding at the moment. I do think that Hasenhüttl will turn this around. I think he's class. But at the moment, they're in a bad place at the moment. 3-0 Everton. Okay.
Tuesday is Man City Wolves. That's a big game. We've got City at home in that game. I think with Wolves being off form, City being 20 unbeaten, I think that's a City win 1 or 2-0. I think it'll be quite a low scoring game. I think you won't see much happening with Wolves. I think they'll try, but City will just suffocate them with the ball basically. And I think City will take it 1 or 2-0.
Agreed. Wolves haven't been travelling well for a while now, and obviously this City side is just too good. I don't see anyone stopping them at the moment. 2-0 City.
Okay. Wednesday's 3 games. So we've got Burnley, Leicester, Burnley at home in that one. Sheffield United, Villa, Sheffield United at home in that one, and we've got Palace United, Palace at home in that one. So Burnley, Leicester, how are you seeing that?
Burnley, Leicester. I think Leicester will bounce back, but it will be tight. I think it'll be 1-0 to Leicester.
Okay. I think I'm hoping for a Burnley bounce back there. I think if they get Chris Wood back, then you're looking at a different game. I think 1-1. I think Burnley get a goal early, then Leicester will struggle a little bit. So I'm going to go 1-1 there. Sheffield United, Villa. I see 2-0 Villa. Comfortable victory for those guys.
Is it at Bramall Lane?
It is, yes.
Okay, cool. I mean, not that away games mean anything since there's no fans anymore. So
yeah,
I don't think I don't know. I don't think away games are as daunting as they used to be due to the lack of fans. I don't see Sheffield United turning this around anytime soon. I think Villa are on a good run. I'm going to go 2-0 Villa.
Okay. Palace United. I can only see a United win there, to be fair. Quite comfortable. Exactly. 2-3-0. Bruno Fernandes with an assist. Rashford to get 1 or 2. Just a comfortable game for them. Yeah.
I think I think maybe even 3 or 4. I think United will want to kind of bounce back, and obviously they didn't score, so they want to change that. And Palace without Zaha is just, it's just no bite, no threat really. I think I'm going to go 3-0 United.
Ooh, okay. Moving on to Thursday's games, we've got West Brom, Everton. Fulham Spurs, and Liverpool Chelsea. Massive game, that one.
Ooh.
So West Brom Everton, I think comfortable Everton win there. Away from home, but 1-0 win Everton, 2-0 win at best.
Yeah.
Fulham Spurs. I think Fulham will surprise Spurs. I don't think it'll be an easy ride for Spurs there. At Craven Cottage, smaller pitch, tighter environment. I'm going to go for a 1-1 there. How are you seeing it?
I agree with you 100%. I think, but I'm going to go the other way. I think Fulham could pull it off. I'm going 2-1 Fulham.
Okay. Liverpool Chelsea. That's the big one. Liverpool at home. Home form's been terrible. I see a 2-1 Chelsea win there.
Yes, but yeah, your home form hasn't been great. I think you guys haven't been that great, but I think you guys are going to pull something out the bag. I think you guys will get a 2-2 draw.
Wow. Okay.
I'm going for a Desmond.
Okay. All right. Well, we might as well get into the weekend fixtures as well, because we won't have another podcast before that. So you're going to get two sets of games in the next. In week 3, we'll get two sets of games of the weekend. So
bumper episode.
Bumper episode, exactly. We'll have a lot to discuss. If we touch on Saturdays, you've got. I'll just read out all the games. We've got Burnley Arsenal. That's the first one. Burnley at home. Sheffield United Southampton. Sheffield United at home. Villa Wolves and Brighton Leicester. Do you want to give me your opinions there?
Cool. All right. So should we start the Burnley Arsenal game?
Yeah.
I think we'll win that. It does depend. It's a bit harder to judge these games because obviously there'll be I think it's like the second game. So obviously they would have played a week beforehand. So obviously we don't know what the results are. But I think the way we're going, if I'm kind of looking at the trajectory of both teams, I think we'll win that. I'm going to go 2-1.
Okay, I think he'd win that too, and I think 2-1 seems like a fair enough result in that game.
Yeah.
Sheffield United Southampton.
Southampton they'll bounce back. Southampton will bounce back. They'll get the win. I'm going to go 1-0.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I can't see that being a very high-scoring game. I think it'll be cagey because Sheffield United will be off the bounce with a couple of losses, and Southampton similar, so it'll cage out. And I think 1-0 Southampton's spot on. Villa Wolves. That's at Villa's ground.
West Midlands derby, a rivalry there, two decent sides. I'm going to go 1-1.
Okay, I think I'll join you with that. 1-1 seems about right. Two good sides.
Yeah.
And lastly, Brighton Leicester. I see Brighton at home. I think Leicester will nick it, but I think it'll be 2-1. 2-1 Leicester.
I'm going to go the opposite. I'm going to say 2-1 Brighton. I think they're due. I think Brighton have been playing really well recently. They've just been cursed. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe someone's put a spell on them or whatever. They just can't convert chances. But I think all their pressure and all their play has to count for something. Yeah. I think they'll win that. I think 2-1.
Okay. Sunday's games: West Brom, Newcastle, West Brom at home. Both a must-win for both of these teams, really. If you're looking at the bottom 3, something we should really look at in one of the podcasts is the bottom 3, and we will do. I'm going to say Newcastle win there.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to say Newcastle win. I'm going to go 3-1.
Okay. Fulham, Liverpool at home. I think after the Chelsea game, I think we'll lose the Chelsea game, so I think we'll bounce back here, and I think we'll win that game 2-1.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Liverpool win. Fulham, I don't ever remember them getting anything at Anfield ever. No. I think, and I think you guys are due a really good result. I think 2-0.
Okay. Then we got the big one: Man City, Man United. Man City at home. Yeah, huge game.
Huge game. Wow. I don't see anyone stopping this City side anytime soon, and it definitely won't be this United team. I know there's rivalry and it's a derby. I get that, so it will be more cagey, I think, especially during the early exchanges. But City will just grind them down. I think United will score. I'm going to say 2-1. Okay.
I think United are going to surprise us in that game. I think Fernandes is going to have a big game, and I don't think it will be a City win, but I don't think United will win either. I think it'll be a 2-2 draw.
Wow. Okay.
A City's round. I hope
so. That sounds like a great game.
I hope so too. Yeah, that's what I think. I think 2-2. And the last one of the weekend will be Spurs Palace, and I see just a 3-0 Spurs win. Spurs at home, Palace on
Oh yeah,
terrible form.
easily,
The
easily.
same.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you on that. I'm gonna, yeah, I'll agree with that. I think 3-0 Spurs. I think Spurs are gonna kind of hit form. They're gonna work their way up the table, and Palace, like I said, they're toothless. So I don't even think they'll score. So yeah, 3-0 Spurs.
Okay. And that's this week's podcast.
Wow.
That's the end of week 2. That's the second episode of Deadball Specialists, Pep in the City. Just a little brief touch on next week. We'll be looking at obviously a week's worth of games, but really every club playing twice, so it'll be bumper packed with that. And we'll look at one topic to dive into, maybe the bottom 3, maybe Ollie and United. We'll let you guys know at the beginning of the next show. But thank you very much for joining us again. I've been Kunal. It's been my top friend Ahmed. We are the Deadball Specialists. Ahmed providing the dead opinions week on week for you. So come join us again for week 3, where we'll have a lot more football. And it's been fun. So thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for joining us.